Welcome to Nach Simanim. I am Jacob Thomas, and today we will be learning Shmuel aleph, perek yud tet. We begin this perek by Shaul openly declaring that he wants to kill David, telling all of his soldiers, "Hey, go kill this guy." But Yonatan is wondering, why is this happening? He warns David that this is happening, and then goes to his father and says, "Hey, Dad, why do you want to kill your best soldier? What has he done to you? Has he harmed you in any way?" And Shaul's like, "Yes, you're right," and Yonatan gets him to swear that he won't harm David. But then, after a great military victory by David, we have Shaul's jealousy of David coming back up and resurfacing, leading Shaul to hurl a spear right at David, who narrowly dodges it and flees away because he's afraid for his life. To escape, Shaul then sends men to surround David's house and kill him at dawn. But David's wife warns him that if you don't save your life tonight, you'll be dead. So this is similar to Shimshon having to escape in ambush instead of sleeping in and waking up until the morning. When ambush comes, he escapes in the night and he gets lowered through a window under the cover of darkness and escapes. And Michal, in order to delay the soldiers, puts a household statue with goat hair in the bed and tells Shaul's guards that David is sick. Like, look, he's laying in the bed. And Shaul is a little suspicious and demands that the bed be brought to him so he can kill David. And then the deception is uncovered that it wasn't actually David. And they're first mad at Michal, but she says, "What could I have done? He said he would kill me if I didn't do anything." And pretending that really David is this crazy murderer who wants to kill the king and the wife. So, as a recap, we have the declaration of Shaul that he wants to kill... not the recap yet. We then have Shaul trying to attack David himself, where he says, "Okay, let us go kill David HaMelech." And he then sends messengers, but then they have a mass prophesizing event, and he then sends more soldiers, but again, the spirit overpowers them. Then he's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself," and then goes off and tries to attack and tries to kill David. But then the spirit of prophecy overtakes him, creating this mass prophecy event. He takes off his clothing, and he's prophesying before Shmuel all day and all night. So as a recap, we have the broken oath of Shaul. So he declared to kill David, but then swore that he wouldn't, and then kills him. Then we have Michal urging David to escape at night. Then we have the clever deception, where the dummy is put in the bed to make it seem like David is lying in bed sick. And then we have the mass prophesizing event that happens in Ramah. In this perek, we are in perek yud tet, so just like Zichur, we use a yat. Yud tet, yat. So here's with the simon. Shaul attempts to drive a yacht over David, but his wife saves him. But Michal helps him escape in time. So we have Shaul attempts to drive a yacht over David. This reminds us one perek yud tet, yacht, and how at the beginning of this perek, Shaul wanted to kill David, but then Yonatan got him to stop. But then he continued to want to kill David, leading David to escape. Michal helps him escape in time by having him leave during the middle of the night from her window, then creating the whole dummy system so they wouldn't actually be able to see David in time. And also it reminds us of the time how in Ramah they had the mass prophesizing event. So one more time with the simon. Shaul attempts to drive a yacht over David, but Michal helps him escape in time. We're going to do a 4 perek back chazar, starting with perek tet vav, and we use a fruit bowl. Shmuel yells at Shaul for sparing the king of fruitfuls. This reminds us how Shaul was supposed to kill Amalek. He had a tremendous victory over them, but decides to spare the best sheep. And Agag, the king of Amalek, leading Shmuel to declare in front of Shaul that he has lost his kingship. Now, perek tet zayin, we use an acrobat with big toes. Shmuel appoints the big-toed acrobat playing the harp while he was trying to find his balance ball. This reminds us how after the last perek, where Shmuel lost his kingship, Shaul lost his kingship. Shmuel goes to anoint a new person. He finds the family of David, and then decides to appoint David out of all of his brothers. And we also have a description of David playing the harp for Shaul whenever he had a big time of anguish in which he would get very angry. He would play the harp to calm him down. Perek Yud Zayin, we use a used car salesman. David throws a stone at the used car salesman for his blasphemous prices. That reminds us how Goliath was the big warrior for the Plishtim, was blaspheming Bnei Israel, who were at war with the Plishtim at the time, for a lot of days. And all of Israel was very, very scared to attack him, until David comes up and says, I will defeat him, throws a stone, hits him in the forehead, Goliath falls down, and David wins. Now, perek Yud Chet, we use a chuppah, because, as the Mishnah in Perek Gavo says, ben shmona asrei l'chuppah. David hugs his friend under a chuppah the night before his wedding, then leaves to war. This reminds us how David has an internal friendship and brotherly bond with Yehonatan, and he then this leads to Shaul to be very scared of David, who's friends with his son, and also an incredible warrior. So he tries to distract him by having him give a challenge of marrying his daughter by killing 100 Plishtim and taking their foreskins. And then David leaves, which reminds us how he also got thrown a spear multiple times. And Shaul was very afraid of him, and David was afraid. And David also left to go to war multiple times because he was a big warrior. We are going to do an 8+1 question pop quiz. In which perek does David defeat Goliath with a single stone? Perek Yud Zayin. In which perek do David and Yonatan make a covenant of friendship? Perek Yud Chet. In which perek does Michal help David escape out of a window? Perek Yud Tet. Which perek does Shmuel secretly anoint David as the future king? Perek Tet Zayin. Which perek is Shaul officially rejected for sparing Agag? Perek Tet Vav. Which perek does Shaul prophesize all day and all night in Ramah? Perek Yud Tet. Which perek does David play the harp to soothe King Shaul's anguish? Perek Tet Zayin. So Shoftim bonus question, which perek do we talk about Bnei Israel not sinning while Yehoshua was alive? Perek Beis. That is it for today. May we be zocheh to finish all of Nach, one perek at a time, and remember it day after day. Have a wonderful day.